I've been wanting to do this video for a while now. Any additional discussion around Red Dead 2 and its writing at this point kind of feels like beating a dead horse. The game's been out a few years, million think pieces, million video essays. That being said, I think I'm ready to beat that horse a little bit more. So this game was widely marketed as it was badass, right? It was like ride with the gang, gun shooting, money stealing, bank robbing, epic ride, right? It's Rockstar Games. We know what to expect. It's Grand Theft Auto, Western Edition. It's Red Dead Redemption 1, 2. Yeah, that sounds fun. What more could we ask for? Why don't we just cut to one of the most significant scenes from the game right here?
I guess I'm afraid.
There is nothing to be afraid of, Mr. Morgan. Take a gamble that love exists and do a loving act.
Okay, wow. Why don't we walk things back quite a bit? Let's look at how we got from here to here.
Come on, bro. Ain't no way this nigga died, bro. I'm dead ass crying right now. I'm crying real tears right now.
We need to talk about what becomes one of Rockstar's greatest narrative tools in this wild ride. It's not really the guns, it's not the brawls, it's not the guy in the little boy sailor suit being kept hostage under the gun store. Interesting as it is, no. It's the idea of vulnerability and love. And that fucked up feeling whenever an animal runs in front of your horse and dies, and Arthur goes to the camp and talks to other gang members as if he and I together have been choosing to kill them in an act of senseless slaughter. And it's really unfair, and I didn't see it coming. I was just going my way and it ran in front of me, and I'm sorry. Now if we're going to talk about these themes, we kind of need to go back to the beginning. Red Dead Redemption 2 is a prequel sequel to Red Dead Redemption 1, which is also not the first Red Dead, but that doesn't matter. What matters is Red Dead Redemption 1 gave us a very beloved playable character in John Marston and Jack. We don't talk about Jack. No. John's important because he was so loved by so many fans, myself included, that it was kind of hard to imagine playing as anyone else in a new Red Dead game. And what didn't help is Rockstar Games kind of, in these new trailers, made Arthur seem like kind of a meathead and an asshole. And not like this golden standard of like likability that we were given with John Marston. Now, if Rockstar Games meant to mislead us with this marketing, which I kind of believe they did, it's actually really, really smart of them, because occasionally when you play with expectations, at least on a character level, narrative level, when you play with that, the viewer and the player can be in for a more impactful experience.
One of the trailers also gives us this quote.
You have to love yourself a fire. It's one of the blessings. Sure, we can have fire. And we can have the knowledge of fire. But with that comes the knowledge of everything.
Well, we'll get back to that too. This ties into the themes in a lot of ways.
Red Dead 2 starts out right after a miserably failed bank heist by the gang, which our character Arthur is not around for. The heist is followed by cops. Dutch shoots a girl in the head, and not all the gang makes it out alive. We're quickly introduced to most of the surviving members of the gang, some of whom we actually kill in Red Dead 1 as John. Here, they're actually mostly better people, except Bill. All my homies hate Bill. This is an anti-Bill channel. If you like Bill, get out. I don't even think Dutch likes Bill all that much. Oh, and then there's this rat. No, this one.
Stinks a coward right around here.
What are you talking about now?
Dutch is established as a very ambitious leader, to put it lightly, but we get the sense that he cares too, and it's this combination of ambition and care that's really providing a spark of hope and keeping everyone together as they very carefully,
Unless you got a death wish, I'd step back, fellers.
I said, scrounge up what money they can so they can afford a way out of this situation that Dutch might have gotten them into himself.
Dutch loathes the westward expansion of America, the idea of civilization, the condensed population, the organized law.
Sure, we can have fire. And we can have the knowledge of fire. But with that comes the knowledge of everything.
We have discovered fire, and with fire has come the knowledge of everything else.
Dutch also claims that we as a group are going to change and reform
Trying
society.
to reform society to a kinder, truer, better way. Now, of course, there's gonna be casualties.
Aside from our knowledge of the previous game and how that goes for him, this is probably where we should start to doubt his ambitions, right? You think this little group can stop the advancement of modern civilization? I mean, Dutch, we barely have enough people here to start a fantasy league. Arthur kind of goes along with this weird thing, but we also start to see his growing doubts in Dutch here. Still, he wants what's best for the group, so he'll do anything for it. It's the gang. You do anything for the gang.
You know, nothing means more to me than this gang, the bond we share. It's the most real thing to me. I would kill for it, I would happily die for it.
You helping me out or what? We can do this. We can do this. We'll go save Sean from bounty hunters. Break Mike out of jail for Dutch. Watch him go on this whole weird massacre rampage thing that never really comes up again for some reason. You can just go back to the town later and it's like nothing happened. We'll get into bar brawls for the group. I mean, it's not deadly. Not as deadly as the last thing, right? Until it is. You got it? I don't got it. Arthur will do some outright scumbag shit that he does not agree with at all, if it's for the gang. He'll do some loan sharking for this vulture. No, show me Strauss. There's a lot of really good metaphorical imagery in this game, just throughout the whole game. It's really cool. There's been a bug on the green screen down here for like the last 10 or 15 minutes that Chestnut's just kind of looking at it. Loan collecting. That's fun missions, right? Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's business. We got to do it. Arthur puts his tough guy face on and threatens money out of these people at Strauss-Kahn, and eventually we get looking for a guy named Thomas Downs, who is it's the pacifist, is who we're looking for, yeah.
Stop. Come, sir. You won the fight already. Surely that's enough.
What business is it of yours?
No business.
These missions made me feel pretty gross. That's probably the point. And I would hope that you felt gross doing them too. And what's magic with that is now we're connected with Arthur, who probably feels even more gross, I would hope. But if you read his journal, he actually does more than imply that. He hates these tasks. He's revolted by it. He's pretty disgusted by it. And Strauss, as a person, he's not really sure why we're doing this anymore in the first place.
And by now we're starting to see some of the depth of Arthur. We get a hint of his past and the temptations to go back.
Hello, Arthur.
We also start to see some of the things he enjoys. He likes fishing, he's good with kids, he's really good at getting really drunk with Lenny. We love Lenny, he's so pure, he's the best. And we also start to see that he does enjoy helping some people here and there, and we see that the care to him is not exclusive to the gang, even if it does seem like he doesn't want to show it. Like, he wants to be cold.
Come on, let me get you home.
And some of the people around him know this.
Where did they take
There's Charles calling him out for acting cold and really uncaring to this family in need.
You ain't as tough and dense as all that. Come on, Arthur.
And with the law catching up to us, it's time to move. And at this portion of the journey, we start to see more exploration of Arthur's internal conflict of care. Here he can't say no, but just help out this young Romeo and Juliet couple, while the rest of the gang attempts to con both of their powerful families.
I can't be bothered. Here, take it.
We see this care in him, and it's just like something is holding him back.
Meanwhile, Dutch's plan is wildly ambitious, once again. But after the last plan blew up, Dutch says we need one more score. Yeah, he's getting a bit more tense. Pressure's getting to him. To be fair, we were supposed to be heading west. Is this what? Pretend this is west. And his own actions have pushed the law to make us head east once more. Pretend this is east. And once more. Still, maybe this could work out. Are we getting a feeling Dutch may be the antagonist of the game? Maybe. Maybe. Or his confidence and charm might just pull us through. This could work out. We've all been hard at work. We've been connecting with the gang more, doing more with them. Even Sean's been putting in work.
Loyalty, Arthur, Nate. I goddamn plan!
By this point, both Arthur and the player are really starting to question what's going on with Dutch. Is he too ambitious? Is he letting his ego get the best of him? Is he being truly honest with the gang? I'm seeing here that my script says I'll add a joke when I think of one. Come on,
Now, as we really start to wonder if Dutch is becoming that antagonist of Arthur's journey, Rockstar Games makes us doubt our doubts by giving us some good moments with him, as Arthur and our wise man Hosea, who has also been losing faith in Dutch, together they all share the golden moment once more, like the good old days. Dutch's charm and wit have returned, and it seems like Dutch clearly cares about the gang, like Arthur may be willing to do anything for them too.
And he proves this here when he takes the gang to retaliate for the Braithwaites taking John's son. This mission's insane. I love this mission. It's so cool. And I mean, look at Dutch. Like, can you blame him? Really, like, she kidnapped a child. Like, John is like a son to him, kind of. And he feels like he's protecting that. Spoiler alert, this is how you write a great antagonist. You make them right sometimes. You let us understand them, their issues, and their approach. Lead us on, and then you just pile on more things to feel conflicted about. Chestnut's back. He even offers himself up to the Pinkertons in trade for the rest of the gang to remain free.
In that case,
Probably
my
did,
honor
knowing the rest of the gang would stop
to
him.
join you. Excuse
Retrospect,
me, friends.
kind of a big mistake on their part.
Now, I found a friendly ship captain. He's willing to take us to Australia or Tahiti.
As we get stuck further out east in fictional New Orleans, Dutch sets his eyes on one more big score. More money, so we can finally run away to...
Where the hell is Tahiti? South Pacific, an untouched paradise. Who lives there? Tahitians, I guess.
Dutch has kind of become a one more try gambling addict at this point, right? Like, he keeps failing at the same general idea over and over and over and over, and he still believes that one more win will offset those losses, which is not too dissimilar to how I keep betting that Kevin Durant will make more than 2 threes a game. And I keep doing this, and he keeps not shooting from deep or not shooting at all, but it's okay. It's KD. He's due for that game, and eventually I will win that bet. It'll work out. I'll win back the promo money I started with, and I'll flip that, and I'll make more and more, and then I won't feel so foolish. I'll feel prideful, and you'll feel foolish for doubting me.
Meanwhile, Arthur may be considering other things.
I'm a wanted man, Mary. If anyone close to me, well, they're wanted too, and I can't have you wrapped up in there. But it's coming to an end. This time it really is.
We're seeing a bit more vulnerability from Arthur. He has regrets, maybe some guilt.
Nasty bit of work, Father.
You're wrong on 2 counts, sir. I'm a humble brother, a penitent monk, not a priest, and you're a magnificent bit of work.
Arthur can't seem to help but help out around town while also claiming he's not a great person. I think he knows deep down he has good intentions, and even strangers start to call him out on this. There are encounters at this point in the game, just helping people out here and there, that don't actually reward Arthur with anything. Just reward is the player feeling satisfaction for helping someone out. And sometimes you get like $20 here or there. That's not really worth much at this point anyway. And this person just gives you a fake gem that you find out is fake later. So that's cool, I guess. Some of these events actually end with us giving money to those who need it. So now our reward is having less money than what we started the mission with. And that rules.
You want some company, mister?
No.
You sure?
Hey.
What?
I don't know you. This is
Oh, hey, is that? I wasn't sure where to put this next clip in this whole project, so we're just going to toss it here. Just check it out.
I love you, Dutch.
Thank you, my dear.
It's actually pretty devastating. Like, this is probably the most fucked up example of neglect that Dutch is involved with in the whole game so far, probably.
You got Lenny? We can't stop now, Arthur. We're all dead.
Don't worry about this. So we don't need to talk about this part really at all.
Dutch. What was that?
Horrible old crone.
But you killed her.
She was gonna betray us, Arthur. Couldn't you tell?
No.
Well, I got some Spanish. She was.
You keep killing folk, Dutch.
I am just trying to make sure that some of us survive, Arthur. Now, shall we proceed?
I think we may have been led on by those cooler Dutch moments earlier. Honestly, outside of the whole psychotic Dutch moment, the only notable thing that happens in the Gorma chapter is that we get a new D'Angelo song when we return back to the States, which we will always take that. That is a win. But yeah, we're back. So let's see how the rest of the journey unfolds.
What is it?
It's not good news.
I guess that.
You got tuberculosis. Really sorry for you, son. It's a hell of a thing. What's wrong? I mean, what appear to be the symptoms?
Well, I think you've heard them. I'm coughing.
Is there any blood?
Sometimes.
Okay, now here. Breathe. Again. Yeah. Let me see your tongue. Now say ah.
Ah. What is it?
It's not good news.
I guess that.
You got tuberculosis. Really sorry for you, son. It's a hell of a thing.
I understand if you don't want to help me, but I think of you often.
At least you're alive.
For now, yeah.
Did I hear a thunder? Did I hear
So, turns out Arthur's actions have consequences for himself and for others.
And it turns out that Dutch's actions also have consequences.
I shall hunt you to the ends of the earth and the end of time. I've killed your friends.
Really starting to irritate me.
We're starting to see more of a difference in how the idea of actions and consequences are handled, and we're starting to see more of how these two decide to deal with this weight. Dutch is, well, he's refusing to take that hit to his ego. He's failing to mask the real him, and this is getting pretty noticeable to others.
Nothing nice.
What happened to Dutch? Because he seems...
I don't know. Seems as what began happening in Blackwater began happening years ago, maybe. A slow decline, I guess.
And this is where Arthur's writing really shines. Arthur, for a while, has felt some way about the members of the gang. He's felt some way about Dutch. He's felt some way about people, the world around him. Faced with his own mortality, he could choose to die with those feelings. He could choose to let things happen as they would, or look back and run away for a glimpse of another life. But when faced with the reality of his choices and the threat of the doom Dutch could bring to those he loves, he sees a choice needs to be made. Something needs to change. And it's not just a threat to those close to him. As Dutch goes on this reckless rebellion against anyone that he deems as a threat, he sees an opportunity in Eagle Flies. Let's be clear, this is not an opportunity for the kid, with Dutch being a helpful person, or as someone Dutch actually sees himself in. Dutch is pouring gasoline to the fire as Eagle Flies seeks to get back at the government for the military's efforts to ruin his people. And this is a fire that Arthur has been, behind Dutch's back, been trying to help put out. The realizations Arthur's been met with since his terminal diagnosis have led to his discovery of fire. Sure, we can have fire, and we can have the knowledge of fire, but with that comes the knowledge of everything. And that fire behind Dutch, which has compelled him to push the gang to keep going and going again and again, Arthur now sees that for what it is, a fire of destruction, a fire of selfishness and ego, denial, or refusal to stop placing bad bets on Phoenix Suns players. A fire that now spreads to threaten more than just the gang, but one that could destroy families, groups of innocent people, And for what in the end? But what about Arthur's fire? We've seen a battle up to now for him to open up and understand what it is or what he wants it to be, while others have already seen it. It's quite the conundrum, fire. In the conundrum, the struggle to open up to Arthur's true feelings, that's how we get here.
I guess I'm afraid.
Arthur, with some help, has discovered a different fire. His fire. His life up to now, his regrets, the suffering of himself and others, the love and joy he feels and gives out versus every contrasting action he's done. It's every bit of vulnerability he's kept inside until this moment. We can have the knowledge of fire, but with that comes the knowledge of everything. We become like a god, because to be all-powerful is to be all-suffering, the awareness of our isolation for everything holy. Now, the irony in Arthur opening up to the idea of this gamble that love exists and doing a loving act is that, well, we've been doing this up until now already. Arthur just hasn't realized it. Loving and caring acts are how he met Sister Calderon in the first place. It's what's connected us with a lot of different characters on this journey. Maybe not all the time, but even through random encounters, we do see his care for the world come out in different ways, even when watching clansmen burn to death.
Damn hooded rodents. I'll kill all you bastards.
Right. This whole thing's been getting kind of heavy. I was thinking we'll lighten things up a bit. I want to show you one of my favorite lines in the whole game.
No one's gonna hurt you ever again.
Mama, you should keep that thing in a cage. You should think about who you're serving. Give me a beer, will you?
Anyway, as the events of the game bring Arthur up north, we spend some time in this mining town, crossing paths with
Get out of here.
Miss Downs. Oh my God, dude, are you good?
Else.
As a viewer of the story, it's fascinating to see how the actions of Arthur and the gang seemingly ruin the lives of this family. I mean, Thomas Downs only had good intentions. And as an involved player, we can't help but feel added remorse over the situation, which makes Arthur's attempts to help the family, despite their lack of cooperation at times, hit harder. To be all-powerful with vulnerability and love, or with pride, is still to be all-suffering. But Arthur understands this power better now, and as Dutch is busy betting with people's lives and refusing to stop betting on Phoenix Suns players with other people's money, going on this whole with me or against me my way or highway power trip, Arthur is placing power and money back to the hands of those who needed it, all the while preparing for his own last gamble and final act of love.
Take this. I don't need it no more.
I don't want your money.
Yeah, I know you don't want it.
While I say Red Dead 2 uses love and vulnerability as its greatest narrative strength, there's actually one more important thing the game does that makes this even stronger. It places it in your hands. I mean this from a narrative standpoint, by the way. By no means was I a good boy when it came to general gameplay. A lot of these choices Arthur's made up until this point, helping strangers, donating money, saving people, most of us made those choices with Arthur. We were given options, and we took a loving path. We did what felt right to us and what seemed right for Arthur as a character. And there's something really beautiful about this, and it's what makes Arthur's moments of vulnerability feel so heartbreaking. We saw the good in him, and we joined him in those good deeds. We've grown alongside each other, and saw what fire burns in Dutch, and discovered the fire that shines in Arthur. We share the same disappointment that Arthur feels when we see Dutch's anger and the suggestion that maybe some of the gang would be safer elsewhere. And Dutch's anger in saying that we went ahead and saved John, and Dutch's inability to accept that he's not as good at fantasy sports as he used to be. I mean, we're straight up in a toxic relationship with this man at this point. Well, we should have seen this coming based on his fits alone, and also the previous game.
One more big score, we got enough money to leave. All this turmoil has the army and Pinkerton spinning. We take a boat and slip away.
Says the man who has become obsessed with revenge, with his way, with making a mess of everything if it means he buys himself more time, no matter who gets left behind. And now Arthur, fully at terms with his mortality, is ready to fight fire with one final act of love. The beautiful thing with love for others and vulnerability is that, well, we show it in different ways. Sometimes it's as simple as quality time. Sometimes it's helping others, or providing to others in need. Maybe it's more one-sided, looking back at a different love you can no longer provide. Or maybe it's as simple as just taking a moment to lend an ear, sharing a comforting hug, humoring someone else. It could be giving support to an impacted community. Other times it's more difficult, like opening up and owning up to your mistakes.
I'll ruin your life. I suffer for it every day. But don't let yourself get killed for pride. I've seen it kill too many folk.
And sometimes love is letting go of the people you care about too.
Bess, you go get that boy. There'll be time for sorrow later.
The good man within you, Arthur. But he is wrestling with a giant. And the giant wins time and again.
You have others who need you. Good people.
And for Arthur, his final act of love is one of sacrifice, giving all he has left to give of his life just for a family to have a way out of Dutch's blaze. The tragedy of fire, like with Dutch's and Arthur's, it may be that the knowledge can come all too late sometimes, like in this story. But the strength of allowing us to see and experience the realization in this narrative is that it's not too late for us to understand it and act upon it in our lives. Arthur's final moments are not heartbreaking only because of the reflection of his journey and choices at this point, but all the stronger because this was our journey too. Our choices and our shared time with Arthur getting knowledge of a fire fueled by love and vulnerability. And that fire doesn't need to die with Arthur. It can live on with us.